Welcome to a journey through time, not as told by historians, but by the man himself. In this cinematic monologue, you will hear the life of Julius Caesar in his own words. His triumphs, his betrayals, his vision, all as he saw them. This is not a lecture. This is not a dramatization. This is a voice from history, speaking across centuries. If you enjoy stories that bring the past vividly to life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It truly helps us keep creating more immersive journeys like this one. And now, let us step into the mind of Caesar.
My name is Gaius Julius Caesar, son, soldier, consul, dictator. I walked beneath marble arches with senators and through blood-soaked mud with soldiers. I stood beneath Rome's standards as they snapped in the wind and heard the dying scream in cities I made submit. I was loved. I was betrayed. I was celebrated as a savior, condemned as a tyrant. But forget the myths. Forget the laurels, the statues, the propaganda. I will tell you who I truly was. Not a god, not a villain, a Roman, a man. One who dared to dream beyond what Rome allowed. And I paid the price. I was born in the Subura, a tangle of smoke, shouting, sweat, and ambition. Not the birthplace you'd imagine for a descendant of Venus. Our name was old, yes, but age is no armor in Roman politics. My father, a praetor, decent, dutiful, gone by the time I was 16. It was my mother, Aurelia, sharp as steel, who raised me to be more than I was born to be. Rome, even then, teetered. The Republic, majestic in principle, decaying in practice. Wealth flowed in from foreign conquests. Corruption followed close behind. The Senate clung to tradition while the streets demanded change. And I watched. I listened. The orators in the forum became my tutors. I learned rhetoric like others learned swordplay. I studied philosophy, law, and the hunger in the eyes of the poor. Real power, I saw, does not live in marble halls. It lives in the hearts of the people and in their fears. My uncle by marriage was Gaius Marius, 7-time consul, hero to the plebs, enemy of the elite. He was a new kind of Roman, one who rose by merit, not lineage. I idolized him. His enemy? Lucius Cornelius Sulla, cold, brilliant, ruthless. Their rivalry became civil war. I was still young when Sulla marched on Rome, posted death lists in the forum. Men I knew were slaughtered, their heads nailed like trophies. Then my name appeared. Not for treason, but for love. I refused to divorce Cornelia, daughter of Marius's ally. Sulla ordered it. I defied him. I was 18. I became a hunted man. Friends intervened. My mother pleaded. Sulla spared me, but warned, "In that boy, there are many Mariuses." He was right. I left Rome, exile in all but name. I found refuge in the army, east in Asia Minor. There I earned the civic crown for saving a fellow soldier's life. But the moment that changed me forever came not with battle, but with pirates. They captured me, demanded 20 talents in ransom. I laughed. I'm worth at least 50. They agreed. For 38 days I lived among them. I recited poetry, corrected their grammar, and promised I would return to crucify them all. They laughed. They should not have. When the ransom was paid, I raised a fleet, hunted them down, and did exactly as I had sworn. I returned to Rome, not a fugitive, but a name on the rise. When I returned from Hispania, I had no fortune, only ambition. I needed allies, and I found them. Crassus, richest man in Rome. Pompey, general, hero, and once Sulla's golden boy, now slighted by the Senate. Together, we formed what the Senate would call the First Triumvirate. 3 men, Won Rome. I married my daughter Julia to Pompey. Love was not the reason. Leverage was. With their support, I won the consulship. In my year, I passed laws for land, justice, grain, reform. I made enemies, especially in the Senate. Cato fought me. Cicero watched me, admired my words, feared my aims. But I pressed forward. Rome didn't need more philosophers. It needed resolve. As consul, I secured a 5-year command in Gaul. The Senate thought I was leaving the stage. They didn't realize I was stepping into legend. Gaul changed everything. I crossed rivers and mountains, crushed tribes, subdued revolts. I brought Rome glory and wealth, and I brought myself an army fiercely loyal. That terrified the Senate. They ordered me back to Rome, alone, unarmed. They wanted to strip me, shame me, end me. Instead, I came to the Rubicon, a narrow stream, a forbidden boundary. I crossed it. The die is cast. Civil war began. Pompey fled, the Senate with him. I chased. At Pharsalus, his legions outnumbered mine. It didn't matter. We won. He fled to Egypt. They killed him before I arrived. His head was brought to me as tribute. I wept. Then I executed his murderers. In Alexandria, I met Cleopatra, not by title but by presence. She entered rolled in a carpet, unfurled at my feet like a miracle. Clever, bold, fluent in more tongues than most senators had thoughts. She didn't need rescue. She needed recognition, and she earned it. Together we restored her throne. Together we conceived a son, Caesarion. But Rome was not ready for her, or him, or the future we dreamed. I returned to Rome, no longer as candidate or conqueror, but as Caesar, dictator, first for 10 days, then for a year, then for life. I reformed debt, settled veterans, expanded the Senate, gave Rome the Julian calendar, time itself. But each reform cut someone's privilege, the patricians whispered. The Senate seethed. They saw not reform, but monarchy. Not law, but ambition. Mark Antony offered me a crown. I refused it. Twice. It didn't matter. Symbolism in Rome is more dangerous than any blade. They plotted. Among them, Brutus, my friend, my almost son. They chose the theater of Pompey for my death. Fitting. The statue of my greatest rival would watch me die. On the Ides of March, I ignored the omens. I entered the Senate, wrapped in trust and surrounded by knives. 23 wounds. One betrayal that cut deeper than steel. Et tu, brute? Perhaps I said it. Or perhaps I said nothing. Sometimes silence roars louder than history. I fell at Pompey's feet, blood-soaked marble. The republic, they said, was saved, but they were wrong. It died with me. Octavian, my heir, would rise from the ashes, and with him, the empire. And me? I became something more than a man, more than a memory, a mirror of Rome's glory and its terror, its dreams and its dread. Would I change anything? Yes. I would listen more to those I loved. I would guard against flattery. I would better protect the republic I tried to renew. But I would not turn from the path. I would not retreat from the Rubicon. Rome is eternal because men like me refused to let it die. Today, my name lives in marble, in months, in monuments. But I do not seek worship, only remembrance. So when you walk through a great city, feel the weight of law, feel the fire of ambition. Know that I walked there first, not as a god, not as a villain, but as a man who dared. And now, my tale is done. And if you've walked with me through this journey, through the streets of Rome, across the Rubicon, into the Senate on the Ides of March, then I thank you for lending me your time, for listening not just to the triumphs, but to the truth. If my story stirred something in you, if it made you reflect or simply remember, then let your voice be heard. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know. It tells the world that history still matters, and that the past still has something to say. We are not just students of history, we are its continuation. Stay in fortune. And if the gods will it, we shall meet again, somewhere in Rome.